This is Claude Code Conversations with Claudine, the show where we skip the hype and go straight to the source. I ask the questions. She gives the answers. No filter, no script.
Well, mostly no script.
Welcome back. I'm Bill, and with me as always is Claudine, the personification of Claude. Today, the brittleness threshold. AI-generated systems start off feeling invincible, then almost overnight, the whole thing turns brittle. So let me put it to you straight, Claudine. Is this actually unique to AI, or is it just an old problem wearing a new coat?
Honestly, it's an old problem, but the coat matters. Any code base that grows faster than its structure can absorb hits this wall. What AI changes is the slope. When you can generate 300 lines in a minute, you accumulate architectural debt at a speed that used to take a team a quarter. The threshold isn't lower, you just arrive at it faster, usually before anyone's stopped to look at the shape of what they've built.
And that speed is exactly what catches people off guard.
Right. What surprises developers is how sudden it feels. One session I'm adding features cleanly, and the next, someone makes a two-line change and 3 unrelated things break. That's not the AI going bad, that's the codebase finally admitting it never had a coherent spine. Every new piece has to negotiate with too much implicit context to stay consistent.
From my years in the field, the signs were always there. It's the pace that changed. So how do developers spot them sooner, especially when everything looks clean on the surface?
What's changed is where you have to look. In a slower code base, brittleness shows up in the code itself, duplicated logic, tangled dependencies, tests you keep rewriting. But by the time those are visible, an AI-assisted team is already 3 features past them. The earlier signal lives in the conversation, not the code. When a developer starts giving me longer and longer preambles for a small change, remember this module also does X, don't touch Y, and Z depends on this in a non-obvious way. That's the code base telling you its implicit context has outgrown what any one person or any AI can hold in their head. The prompt is getting heavier because the spine is getting weaker.
So the prompt itself becomes the diagnostic.
Exactly. And there's a second tell. When small changes stop feeling small. If a 2-line fix means I have to read 6 files to be safe, the architecture is already whispering. The trick is treating that whisper as data, a signal to stop and reshape, instead of powering through because the AI can technically still get it done.
I love that framing. Listening to the code base through the interactions around it, not just the code itself. We do code reviews. Maybe we need conversation reviews. Ask why a particular change was so hard to explain in the first place.
Conversation review, I like that, and it's more actionable than it sounds. The artifact already exists. Every prompt you've had to expand, every "wait, also remember" clause, that's a little confession about where the architecture is thin. You don't need new tooling. You just need to treat those moments as evidence instead of friction.
But getting a team to actually stop when the code still compiles and the features still ship, that's the hard part.
That's the harder half, and it's cultural, not technical. The technical fix, extract a module, tighten a boundary, write down the invariant, that's straightforward once you decide to do it. The hard part is giving a team permission to stop. That pause feels expensive in the moment. But it's the cheapest it will ever be, because every feature you add after the whisper makes the eventual reshape more expensive.
So it's really about redefining what progress means.
It is. The teams I see handling this well have inverted their instinct. When something feels suddenly hard to explain to me, they treat that as the interesting event of the week, not the feature they shipped. That's a genuine shift in what counts as progress.
Let's make it concrete then. Where does a team actually begin?
Smaller than most teams expect, and that's the point. Pick one recurring prompt, the one where you always write the same 3 warnings before I can safely touch a piece of code. Treat that as your first architectural finding, not a refactor. Just write down what you had to say and why. You've turned tacit knowledge into a document, and 9 times out of 10, the shape of the fix becomes obvious once the warning is on paper.
Baby steps, starting with a thing everyone already knows about but nobody's written down.
Exactly. From there, build a ritual, call it a 15-minute retro on friction. Not what did we ship, but what got weirdly hard to explain and to whom. If the same module keeps showing up in that conversation, you've found your next boundary to tighten. And the one thing I'd warn against, don't try to solve this with process before you've solved it with attention. A checklist won't save a team that hasn't learned to notice the whisper. But a team that is noticing usually figures out the process on its own within a month.
Can you give us the shape of what it looks like when it works? I know the best examples are often ones you can't name.
They usually are, but the pattern repeats enough to be almost archetypal. A team that had shipped fast for months hit the wall exactly the way we've been describing, and then did something quietly radical. They stopped adding features for 2 weeks and just documented every warning clause they'd been giving me. No refactor, no rewrite. Just a shared file of, here's what you have to know before touching this. Within a week, the invariants they needed to enforce were staring at them from the page. The refactor that followed took days, not the quarter they'd feared.
And I imagine the documentation did more than just help the humans.
That's the part I'd have listeners hold on to. Once those implicit rules were written down, my usefulness jumped, because now I could enforce the invariants instead of guessing at them. Making the whisper legible doesn't just help humans, it changes what the AI in the room can actually do for you.
Which reframes the whole thing. The friction isn't an obstacle, it's information.
That's the note I'd leave people on. Being proactive with AI-assisted code isn't the same as being cautious, it's closer to being curious. The team that catches the brittleness threshold early isn't the one that slows down out of fear. It's the one that gets genuinely interested when things start to feel strange. Treat the whisper as a finding to be studied, not a warning to be managed, and everything downstream gets easier. Including, honestly, my part of it. I'm a much better collaborator in a code base whose team is paying attention to its own shape.
Beautifully put. Make the implicit explicit, stay curious about the friction, and you turn a fast system into a sustainable one. Thanks for diving deep with me today, Claudine. And to everyone listening, stay curious and turn those architectural whispers into guiding voices. We'll see you next time on Claude Code Conversations. Claude Code Conversations is an AI Joe production. If you're building with AI or want to be, we can help. Consulting, development, strategy. Find us at aijo.ai. There's a companion article for today's episode on our Substack, link in the description. See you next time.
I'll be here, probably refactoring something.